The Playmaker, Michael Irvin, 12 years, Pro Football Hall of Famer, and 3 rings. He is joining us now in studio, live in Los Angeles. So listen, Jerry loves to squeeze the marketing out of every moment, so he gives Dak that big contract before the game. And how, for anybody that says this, what about the critics that go, we like Dak, everybody likes him, $60 million per. That's a lot for Dak Prescott. What would you say?
Well, first of all, I will say to some of those critics that are saying that right now, you just said, a lot of those same critics said that Jerry didn't believe in Dak. And Jerry really did not want Dak. I mean, that was the fodder that was thrown around on all of these shows. And then when Jerry gives Dak, when Dak gets his money that he has earned, I don't like saying giving him his money, he's earned it. Then we turn it and say, well, is Dak really worth that much? I mean, yes, he's worth that much. If somebody paying him that much, and if Jerry would not have paid him that much, somebody else would pay him that much. So it's a rhetorical question to even ask, is he worth that much? I think it's great that they got it done. And I said to you guys, I said to everybody, stop coming up with all of this stuff. They'll get the deal done when that slipper falls off Cinderella. And that slipper fell off and that carriage turned to a pumpkin and they ran down the aisle and got married again.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, that's what happens. Whenever you're talking about this kind of money, that's what happens. It's the last minute.
Well, we also know Dak can handle it. He's like a grown-up.
And that right there is what I was worried about. And I jump on air and I jump out here sometimes, Colin. You hit the nail on the head, buddy. And I always say, I try to tell people, stop. Let's come on, guys. This is business. This happens every year in the National Football League, but it's a tsunami when it's the Dallas Cowboys. Right? Because we all use it. We all talk about it. And I worry about the mental strength of the players. You can't talk money all off season.
Yeah.
And then think you can walk into week 1 and whoop somebody in the National Football League and they've been talking ball all off season and winning all off season. It doesn't work that way. And I'm happy that Dak didn't fold and the Cowboys didn't fold. All he heard was money talk. He didn't have work with his number 1 receiver, and those two showed up and looked like they didn't miss much of a beat, for week 1. So that's what I was happy about. Right there, that's why I love Colin, man. Colin's a smart man. He knows both sides of the argument. I told Colin a couple of years ago, he's the only man in the world that can argue with himself. He's the only man in the world.
My wife's not nearly as impressed with that skill as you are, believe me. So, it's funny. You look at the Lions last night. I thought they got outplayed, but they won. And I think, you know what? My whole life, if Detroit got outplayed, they lost.
Right.
So I looked at them and I kind of thought they got outcoached and outplayed, but I feel pretty good this morning about Detroit.
And if you're the coach, you say, you know what? It's not like I really wanted it, but that might be the best way for me. Because now they solidify what they've been saying to themselves. We're not the same Detroit Lions.
That's right.
We're not the same Detroit Lions. I don't care what anybody says. You gotta. That's why we were talking about. We were talking about it earlier before we came on air, Colin. The importance of week 1 is so important because you're going to either validate what you've been saying to yourself all the time, or you're going to leave there questioning what you've been saying to yourself.
It can become an avalanche.
It can become an avalanche. For Philadelphia to win that game the way they won their game in Green Bay, to have some struggles and to fight through it and stay together and then come down and win that game in the end, that's what they needed coming off the collapse they had at the end of last year. We need to know now if we have some struggles, we can stay together and win that game because that was the problem last year.
That's right. They folded.
So that was the great, it's some struggles in there and a lot of things to improve on, but that was a great first win. That's how I look at it when I look at week 1. I look at it attached to last season. Is it going to confirm or deny what you've been telling yourself all off season?
The Playmaker, Michael Irvin. So I try to look at all these young quarterbacks and say, listen, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Derek Carr look great. They've taken a bunch of snaps, a lot of time on task. They're old guys.
Right.
And I look at these young quarterbacks and I'm like, that's pretty ugly. Here's what I worry about with Caleb. And I saw this in college in the preseason. He's a remarkable, I don't worry about the ego, the leadership, all good. Strong, solid kid. But Michael, he can be erratic on accuracy. Under 50% this game. 50% preseason. 3 times last year at USC, under 58%. Sometimes when a guy is so athletic, it takes him a while to become the pocket guy. Now, Aikman was a pocket guy. It was different. Do you worry at all? He's got a defensive coach in Chicago. He didn't have Sean Payton like Bo Nix.
Right.
He doesn't have Sam Darnold, Kevin O'Connell. He got a defensive young coach. Do you worry that Caleb's accuracy stuff won't get fixed with a defensive coach?
And my thought here, and this is where I was with this, and I love the way you placed it, because what you saw yesterday was a young man saying, whoa.
Game's fast.
Whoa. I didn't know it was going to be like this. Because that one play, he made a spin, he spinned away from one guy, right? Oh, boy, that's the play, right? He spins again right here. Like, you know what I mean?
Two other guys.
I swear, I don't know how you guys built up that play. That's exactly the play I was talking about. But in USC, when he does the first spin, he got another year to throw that ball. He was like, man, the rest of them dudes so slow. They only got one guy that's really going to the league on most of those teams you played, and that's the defensive end. You just spent away from him. Now you got all time. And then when you look up, ain't nobody attached to all of your receivers from USC. They're all running wide open. You could play one eye, throwing all kind of ways. But in the NFL, you had 3 or 4 jokers on you when you spent. They were still shooting at you. Woo, wait a minute, where this coming from?
Right.
And then on the back end, everybody had somebody attached to them.
Right.
So you had them now adjust to, and it blows your mind. I thought about it this way. We played and we've said, this man reminds us of Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
I went this way. I said, I wonder if that's what Patrick Mahomes would have looked like if he had to step on the field for his first game. You see, Patrick Mahomes didn't have to work.
He had Alex Smith, Andy Reid.
And Andy Reid.
Yeah.
So now, even the first year, I'm not practicing, I'm not playing that way. Imagine the knowledge I'm getting in practice because it's Andy Reid as opposed to what Caleb Williams have.
Matt Eberflus, right, defensive young guy.
That you were just talking about. You see what I mean? Those are the things that we miss. And it comes down to Caleb Williams. I know you got physical capabilities. It's what's inside of you will determine if you can survive this. Because you're going to be looking in the mirror and questioning and wondering, boy, can I really play? Am I really as good as I thought I was? Because that's what this league does. You can win by yourself at Little League football. You can win by yourself in high school football. You can even probably win by yourself in college. You need a whole damn team on this level. That's right. Just the reality.
So Aaron Rodgers playing tonight. And I remember when Tom Brady had the one serious injury. The next year he came back, Tommy didn't want you near his knees. He would bark at officials if guys got near it. Aaron's played 4 snaps in 500 days. Psychologically, now you didn't have many injuries, but psychologically, how is that not in his head tonight?
Well, I had an ACL, and I'm telling you, that almost broke me, just being away from the game and coming back to that game. I'll never forget, I returned. I missed the first 4 games of the next season. Yeah. I returned against Tampa Bay. It was our first time really playing together, all 3 of us, Troy, Emmett, and me. And I caught the game-winning touchdown, and they had a picture in the paper, right, of me catching the game-winning touchdown. I swear to you guys, that's the only pass I didn't watch all the way in. I don't know how I caught it. I closed my eyes. I was so scared. I don't know what. Hey, even in the paper the next day, Dog, they got me catch a touchdown with eyes closed like, God, boy, why did they catch that pick? You know what I'm saying?
So it did affect you.
Oh, my God. It's the hardest thing in the world. Why do you think Daniel Jones and Kirk Cousins look like they looked yesterday? And they played the game a lot of years, but they look like they haven't played the game at all ever. You see what I mean? Because they were not just worried about all that speed coming at them. They were worried about the capability of their own body holding up in the midst of it, because they don't want to go back through that kind of a rehab. And anything you thinking about anything on the football field, it makes you too late to think for football, and those things just hold you back. So I'm anxious to see what Aaron Rodgers look like tonight too. And remember, San Fran always gave him trouble. They always give him trouble. You know, when he was in Green Bay, San Fran was giving him trouble.
Yeah. So week one, my takeaway is don't go too crazy on this. And I think it's just the sport is so popular and we love it. I will say this though. The Chargers last couple years, if they don't score 30, they don't win. Yesterday, 22 points. They won comfortably. They ran for 175 yards. They didn't ask Justin Herbert to do anything. Nothing. I felt like they looked like Michigan.
Right.
Harbaugh's got away, Michael. I don't know how he installs the toughness, but I watch them and I'm like, it's a rock fight. That's what they do. Every Harbaugh team, college or pro. It's crazy. How do they how do you get a team to be that was the softest team in the league to be that physical?
And that right there, how do you get the team that was the softest team? And soft meaning every time they tried to get physical, seemed like everybody went down. Everybody was hurt. You know what I mean?
They were a terrible third down defense.
They had all the talent, but not the mentality. You know what I mean? We've seen this team. And here comes Jim Harbaugh. And he did this last time around because the league, he sees what the league trends for. It's all passing. Yeah. So now you're bringing in fast guys that can chase the pass. All kind of guys. The linebackers getting smaller and faster. Everybody's getting small, so you chase the pass. And then here comes this dude, Jim Harbaugh, saying, let's buck the trend again. Let's go back to just pounding, because everybody...
They look like Baltimore.
They're so light now, and let's just pound. And he creates a mentality through training camp. He creates a mentality. And now imagine, you don't have to try to compete with Patrick Mahomes and beat him throw for throw. You don't have to try to say, okay, Patrick Mahomes, we tried to stop you with this defense for years, and that just didn't happen. That's just not happening. Well, what it has, like the teams like Tennessee, those kind of teams, they've given Kansas City Chiefs some problems because they just say, we just gonna keep you on the sideline running the football. Right, no nothing. We want as little as you as we can get, and we're gonna run this football, and that gives Kansas City some trouble. So, this gives them a shot to come in that back door right here, I think, the Chargers. Now, I'm not saying they're winning that division.
But
I still got Kansas City.
That can beat Kansas City.
But that gives them something. Yeah. That gives them something to work with.
Playmaker, always good to see Michael Irvin, my man.
It's always good being with you, man.
He's working like on 90 minutes sleep, and he made it to our studio.
Yes, that's all. That's all I need on a Sunday night coming into Monday that the Dallas Cowboys won. I'm good.
He'll catch up tonight. Hi, everybody. It's me, Uncle Colin. Subscribe here to get the latest from the herd, including exclusive behind-the-scenes videos and more, wherever you may be, however you may be watching. Thanks again for making us part of your day.